A very good afternoon and welcome to the Club World Cup live here on LFS this evening as we round off another day of action, 2 day games to come for you. One of them live commentary here on LFS. PSG taking on Inter Miami, and looking forward to this one. The winners of Group B taking on the runners-up of Group A, and of course Inter Miami with that incredible game on match day 3 against Palmeiras to secure a second spot in the group and to secure a place in, of course, the round of 16. They come up against the European champions, PSG, to try and find a place in the quarterfinals of this competition. And PSG not invincible in this competition after being beaten on match day 2 of the group by Botafogo, who we saw depart from the competition yesterday. This game's coming up in a couple of minutes' time, 5 p.m. UK time kickoff. Last night, yesterday, it took us a full distance in both games yesterday, all the way to extra time. Palmeiras claiming a 1-0 victory over Botafogo. That 100th minute goal from Paulinho to secure the victory. For Chelsea, on the other hand, they needed extra time to fend off Benfica in that all-European battle. Reece James opened the scoring in the 64th minute for Chelsea. It was Angel Di Maria with a penalty in the 95th minute of normal time, equalising to keep Benfica in the fight. But not long into extra time, they were down to 10 when Prestiani got a second yellow card, which meant he was off, and it was pretty comfortable there on in for Chelsea, who scored 3 unanswered goals. Christian Nkunku, Pedro Neto, and of course Kieran Dewsbury Hall with the 3 goals in the second half of extra time to secure what was in the end a pretty comfortable result for Chelsea against Benfica. 4-1 for Chelsea, and that means the 2 winners of yesterday's games will face off in the quarter-finals that start next Friday. Palmeiras-Chelsea is our first quarter-final that's confirmed. Our game this evening between PSG and Inter Miami, we'll see they will play the winners of the game later this evening at Flamengo against Bayern, and that's the case for all of the matchups. The teams that play on the same day in the United States, the 2 games on the same day, will face each other, the winners of each game, and the winners of this one, as I said, will play the winner of Flamengo against Bayern Munich, and that game will take place on Saturday, the 5th of July at 12 noon Eastern in Atlanta. Tonight, for this one, we are in Atlanta in the Mercedes-Benz Stadium for the round of 16. It is a big one tonight. PSG, the European champions, taking on Inter Miami, the host team of this tournament. Inter Miami, they're the team that opened this tournament on night one, and Lionel Messi, Luis Suarez, Sergio Busquets amongst the stars in this Inter Miami side. But of course, Messi, the headline maker as always, and the storyline is that he is facing his former side in PSG tonight in this one, looking for a place in the quarterfinals. Great to have you all with us for this one. Storm thinks PSG will win 4-2. In this one, Samuel says 3-1 to PSG and 2-0 to Bayern a little later. Welcome in Kolya as well. Thank you very much for joining us. Great to have you all with us. Do get those votes in on the poll in the chat on who you think's going to go through, who's going to win this one this evening. And do let us know your score predictions as well if you ever so want to give them, as the players are coming out from the tunnel. The edit guy says 5-0 to PSG. Fairly convincing. Welcome in the names map as well. Thank you very much for joining us. With 3 minutes to go until kickoff, let's show you the teams for this one this evening. Starting with the European champions PSG. Gigi Donnarumma is in goal. A back four of Achraf Hakimi, Captain Marquinhos, William Pacho alongside Nuno Mendes in defence. Vitinha is alongside Fabian Ruiz and João Neves in that very strong PSG midfield. And a front three of Kvicha Kvaratskhelia on the left-hand side, Desiree Doué on the right, and Bradley Barcola leads the line for PSG tonight. A little bit of a smaller PSG bench tonight, only 11 players named on the bench, and a possible could be 15, of course, you can name on the bench for this tournament. Safonov, Tenas, Beraldo, Hernandez, Kamara, Lee, Mayulu, Zaire-Emery, Dembele, Mbaye and Ramos all on the bench for the Parisians. For Inter Miami, they start this one knowing, obviously, as all do, it's knockout football. Winning you're in, losing you're out. It's that simple. And Lionel Messi might have a bit between his teeth against his former team this evening. They start with Ustari in goal. A back four of Weigand, Falcon, Allen and of course Jordi Alba at left back. In midfield, Sergio Busquets is alongside Federico Redondo in midfield. Allende on that right-hand side, and on the left-hand side is Segovia. And of course, that front two of Luis Suarez and captain Lionel Messi, the number 10. On the bench for Inter Miami, Novo, Yarber, Aviles, Martinez, Sailor, Cremachi, Morales, Rodriguez, Afonso, Abando and Picoult. It is PSG against Inter Miami in another one of our round of 16 fixtures in the Club World Cup, and this one at the home of the Atlanta Falcons in the NFL in the Mercedes-Benz Stadium, and kickoff in this one is next. A very good evening. Welcome to the channel. Welcome to the Watchalong with me, Caoimhan Ferris, tonight for this one between PSG and Inter Miami. Really looking forward to this one tonight. I think two teams that are very capable of holding their own, but of course PSG will be the favourites coming into this one, the European champions. But it's not plain sailing. Inter Miami have the likes of probably arguably the best player on the planet in Lionel Messi, alongside the likes of Luis Suarez, Sergio Busquets, even Jordi Alba, who I forgot to mention, all in the starting lineup, and looking forward to seeing what those, all of which did play at Barcelona at one time or another, those famous players, we'll see what they can produce this afternoon for Miami. But again, as I said, it is going to be PSG favourites. But again, as we know, PSG were the favourites against Botafogo in the group. And although that was a very different dynamic and it wasn't a must-win game for PSG, but this one could possibly end up the same way. But you never know what can happen. Don't forget to like, subscribe and turn on post notifications if you haven't done so already. We're literally, I know it says up there about 30 away, but we're literally around 10 subscribers away from 28,000. So if you could help us get over the line, that will be incredibly appreciated, and we thank you all for joining us. PSG, of course, in their traditional navy blue home strip. Inter Miami, of course, in their main strip of that pink and white with black trimmings. As the countdown is on to getting underway here in Atlanta for this one. A blockbuster affair in the round of 16 of the Club World Cup. PSG against Inter Miami to get us underway. PSG faced another Inter side. That was in the Champions League final at the end of May. Can they dominate this Inter side like they did Inter Milan in the Champions League final back in the end of May? And that would be some dominance if they were to do that again. And that was a bizarre kickoff from PSG, by the way. They kicked it that long that it went for a goal kick to Inter Miami. That was very intriguing and interesting how they started that at the start of the game there, PSG. Very intriguing. Championship winners, Wrexham says, there is no way that a USA club beats the top European club. Champions League winner, not a chance. As I said, you never know what is capable, what can happen. So 5-2 at best there. AI said PSG will win 2-1. Well, who knows? This is the thing. You know, PSG have gone strong tonight. And not that we didn't expect them to. They're not going to rest players. This is knockout football. This is what they're here for. And this is what we want to see. Their best players on show for Paris Saint-Germain. And we've got Inter Miami. As I said, haven't got too shabby amount of players themselves to put on the field. That's a switch ball out to Kvaratskhelia on this left-hand side. Nuno Mendes playing a more inverted role, trying to link up down that side with Desiree Doué, but that one goes out for a PSG throw on the left-hand side. One thing, the defence of Inter Miami will be more than tested. We expect PSG to dominate possession. We expect them to dominate the play, of course. But as I said, with the stars that Inter Miami have, individuals with abundance of quality, anything's possible. Oh, Messi was a mere inch away of getting that one. He's got it now. Now trying to feed it down the right chant. A flank here. Allende. This is what I mean. A little bit of a sloppy pass from PSG, and Inter Miami could pounce, but they didn't get very far with Allende there, and it was easily retrieved by PSG. But it was a sloppy back pass, and Messi almost made it count. As PSG try and move quickly down the right. Nice little skip there by Achraf Hakimi. Down the right-hand side. He's got Jordi Alba for company. Cuts it back inside to Ruiz. Ruiz tried the cross. Headed away by Busquets. And that was nicely retrieved by Willian Pacho. Just to settle PSG back into possession. After there was a little bit of a threat from Luis Suarez. What's my prediction? Well, I do expect, as I said, PSG will be the favourites. PSG, as I said, we expect to dominate. I think if they get an early goal, PSG, it could be pretty damning for Inter Miami. But as I said, if they hold on for a good while, it could be a tighter game. But as I said, I think PSG will do it. I don't see anything other than that. But again, you never know what can happen and what's possible. That's a nice move here. Kvaratskhelia is in. He's got it back. The shot as well saved by the goalkeeper there, Asari, who tried to use his legs, and he did get it away. But that was a very positive move from PSG down that left channel. And it was Kvaratskhelia who made that driving run into the box from that left-hand side. Here he is again. Kvaratskhelia. Doué. Chops inside his full-back, but Doué still has the ball as he tried to spin around the number 57 there of Inter Miami, Marcelo Weigand. He did very well there, Doué. He's just held on to it. It was Falcon that got involved as well in the doubling up of Desiree Doué. And that was a free kick. But we see that from Kvaratskhelia. Drive and run, then he bobbles the ball back towards Bradley Barcola, who has the effort. And it was well saved by Asari in the Miami goal. But that was wonderful from Kvaratskhelia. We know what he can deliver when he drives off that left-hand channel. So a free kick to PSG here. Around about the edge of the box, 23 yards out, wide on the left. It is Achraf Hakimi and Vitinha that are over it. Just in conversation as to what they're going to do here, those two. Lots of bodies in the box. 5 pink shirts in the area. Ball delivered in by Vitinha. The header at the back post is in. That is carved open. And it is João Neves who opens the scoring for Paris Saint-Germain. A perfectly carved out set piece. And a wonderful diving header by João Neves at the back post. And Paris Saint-Germain break the deadlock inside 5 minutes. Wonderfully worked by Vitinha to his midfield partner in João Neves, who dives onto it perfectly. Completely unmarked, round the back. He's well onside, no question of that. And that is the advantage that PSG wanted early. And that advantage they've got early. PSG 1, Inter Miami 0. And that is an unbelievable start. And a very, very well carved out goal from a set piece. Wonderful delivery by Vitinha. And a fabulous header by João Neves. PSG 1, Inter Miami 0. Unbelievable. It was just perfect. The way they worked it round the back post was just fabulous. And that's the start they wanted. Luis Enrique's side, named a strong side, isn't going to want to rest on his laurels. Isn't going to want his team to rest on their laurels. They're going to want to make as much of this as they can and impose as much dominance as they can. And they already have that advantage. The names, the Benfica-Chelsea game went to extra time, but when they got into extra time, Benfica got a man sent off, second yellow card, and at that point Chelsea just had to control the extra man, the extra dominance, and just be able to basically carve them away. But I'm kind of glad we weren't on for that one last night, because the game was kind of suspended after 80 minutes due to weather conditions last night. It was suspended for over an hour and a half. Didn't get back underway until midnight UK time. It kicked off at 9 PM UK time. Didn't get back underway to after midnight in the UK. So it wasn't finished right until around 1 o'clock UK time. So it was quite a drastic and quite crazy game between Benfica and Chelsea. And Chelsea coming out on top. The ball stolen away in the midfield again by PSG. Kvaratskhelia now. Switching the ball over to Hakimi on this right-hand side. Infield to, that was Ruiz. Who moving it quickly there, PSG. Not keeping it around with anybody for an extended period of time. Kvaratskhelia lifting into the box. Brought down by Fabian Ruiz. He's got options in the middle. He's got Hakimi in the middle. He cuts it back here. Doué. Barcola trying to return it to his teammate, but couldn't quite find him. And now Messi. Trying to lead the charge for an Inter Miami counter-attack. Allende was well challenged by William Pacho, and the ball won back by Kvaratskhelia down that left channel. Well, if you're to really be honest with yourself, when you take into consideration, we knew this game was going to be a pretty simple one. If PSG played to their level, if PSG played to what they're capable of, and so far it was a set piece that got them the opening goal. And if they do play to that level continuously, it will be a little bit of a walk in the park, I suspect. As I said, we're all here to witness, obviously, the European champions, and also, maybe, hopefully, get a few nice glimpses of maybe Lionel Messi or Luis Suarez, who are the stars of this Inter Miami team. What it would be to see one of those two score would be fantastic. Here is Vitinha. Now back it goes to Marquinhos. Now Hakimi. Got the link up there with João Neves down that right hand side. There's a PSG player on the far side of the field down. It's Kvaratskhelia. He's on the floor in pain, so the referee's just going to stop the game for the moment and make sure he's okay. Our referee this evening, Wilton Pereira from Brazil. And he was kind of caught in the face there. If we give that a Scalia. There's not much in it, but he was caught. Andy says 150 million to the winners. Now it's time to start taking it seriously. PSG and Man City final is predicted. I'm a Villa fan, and at times when Villa are on, we can't be beaten. They beat us in the Champions League. Yeah. Look, I think we said it yesterday when we talked about the knockouts and we looked at the bracket and we kind of looked and saw that, you know, Real Madrid and Man City are on opposite ends of the draw. Of course, PSG will come into that conversation at some point in this conversation. If we can get the bracket up for you, I'll show you the bracket. Interestingly, PSG and Real Madrid are on the same side of the draw, which could be intriguing coming maybe the semi-final stage if they both get that far. Of course, I suspect they will do, but you never know. Anything's possible. It could be... Oh, hold on. PSG were trying to get forward there. Nicely intercepted by Busquets in the midfield there for Miami. Back to Falcon, and then all the way back to Asari. But as I was saying, it could be, looking at the brackets, if we go for the strongest teams on either side, it could be Man City, Chelsea, and PSG, Real Madrid semi-finals, which would be quite fantastic if we were to get that. That would be fun. But of course, we want to see a Flamenco or a Monterrey or a Palmeiras or even a Fluminense of some sort. Maybe a South American side in there. I don't think we will, but it would be nice to see in that case if that was to be. You know, we know Flamenco already beaten Chelsea in the competition. They play Bayern a little later, and Bayern aren't at their very best after that defeat to Benfica, so who knows what could come of that a little later on. Of course, the winner of this game will play the winner of Flamengo Bayern in the quarterfinals. Remarkable delivery. Just sensational. Here's Messi. Work it back. Well, interestingly, Inter Miami, of course, playing the 4-4-2 system this evening. So Messi and Suarez, the front two for this Inter Miami side. That's the expectation. It is very interesting. You don't often see many sides play the 4-4-2. We did see Atletico Madrid play the 4-4-2. That is their usual position, and look at how they got pasted by PSG in the first group game of the competition. Out of all the countries, they had to choose the USA to be the host. Again, I think they did it a lot because, one, Messi is in the US, and also the World Cup is going to be here next year, so they maybe wanted it to be a little bit of a dress rehearsal for the World Cup, in a sense, next summer. But apparently there was hints that FIFA are even thinking about getting the USA to be the host for the next version of this tournament back in 2029, which I'm very confused about, because surely you would want someone different to host it. Certainly a European nation or a South American nation, someone that loves football. You know, America still don't call it football, they call it soccer. And they're never going to call it football, but that's what I mean. It's kind of... It's all about the World Cup and all that, but also money. When you're in America, massive stadiums, massive kind of new set of fans that you can probably get into football, and it could be beneficial monetarily. Of course, the USA puts up so much money, it could be massively beneficial, and of course we know what the winning clubs are going to be getting, as someone already, Andy, put in there 150 million for the winners. Doué with a corner. Flicked on by the man there, Barcola, and Fabian Ruiz heads it in, but he's offside. You could see that from a mile off that he was offside there. See it again, it's ball whipped in by Doué. It's Barcola's header, and yeah, Fabian Ruiz is miles offside. Heads it in pretty comfortably, but he is miles offside. PSG v Madrid. I think PSG are stronger, but what a draw. Yeah, we could be set up for some incredible semi-final setups, and of course we did inform you that I won't be here for the quarters, because quarterfinals are played over the 4th and the 5th of July, and I'm away between Thursday and Saturday next week, so it's a bit disappointing that that's going to be the case, but we will, of course, as I said, guaranteed that both semi-finals and the live final. Semi-finals are the 8th and the 9th of July, and the final, of course, July the 13th. So we will be on for those, but unfortunately the quarterfinals, just some calendar clashes, unfortunately. PSG still dominant. 16 minutes gone. PSG 1 into Miami 0. Goal scored by João Neves inside 6 minutes. It's a nice through ball here to Doué. Rolls it round the corner. Ruiz on the run. Tried the cut back, but he just couldn't get a whip around it. Goes behind for a goal kick, but nice idea on that occasion, just not the right execution from Fabian Ruiz in the end as he tried to spin it back around to Bradley Barcola in the middle. As we see that offside, I mean, you don't even need the technology to see the offside there. It's quite clear that he was in an offside position, Fabian Ruiz, a few moments ago. Well, there's a little issue here for Noah Allen, the centre-back of Inter Miami. Greek international. He's holding the back of his hamstring, which is an issue, and that might call the end of his afternoon already, because that's the hamstring issue. Then he's done and dusted. The names map says LMS FIFA want to expand this competition to 48 teams. Do you think that's too much? Yeah, massively. There's no need for 48 teams. No need for 48 teams in this competition. There's 32. It's good enough. It's simple. We need to see how the World Cup deals with an expansion first, and how the World Cup's going to expand, and the way things are going to go next year. I just don't see why there's a need to make it 48 teams in this competition. I mean, maybe they could rejig the allocation a little bit, in the fact that we had so many European teams in this competition that maybe you can rejig the allocation for next time round. I mean, how many European teams did we actually have in this competition? 12 European teams. So that's 12 out of 32 teams came from Europe, considering 4 only came from Asia, and 2 of them from the same country. 4 in America, which is pretty strange. 2 Mexican clubs, and 2 North American clubs, of course 2 USA clubs. Then only 6 from South America, which I think is a little bit small. I think you can probably push that a little bit more. I think the 12 European teams is a bit excessive in a sense, and maybe you could rejig the allocation to get some more teams in that way. But I think expanding it to 48 is just diluting the competition even further than what it is. 32 clubs is more than enough to make it competitive and give teams a showcase on the world stage. Just maybe fix the allocation of how many clubs from each continent gets into the competition, and maybe it could work better. But I think 48 teams would be far too many, in my opinion. I just think it would be a lot of dead rubbers and a lot of teams that really aren't anywhere near the level. I mean, from the 32, no disrespect to Auckland City, but Auckland City were nowhere near the level, and they're a semi-pro side. So, no, not that I'm throwing shade at them whatsoever, but if you're going to expand it even further than that to another 16 teams on top of what we have, you're going to see a lot more of that, and a lot less competition, really, for places. Barcola. on this right hand side. Cuts it back to Ruiz. Chips it over the top. Back to Bradley Barcola. He's got options in the middle. Barcola cuts it back. Hakimi's effort. Right at Falcon. And then put behind for the corner. There by Inter Miami. Achraf Hakimi. He made the impact in the Champions League final, making those inside runs into the box from full-back positions. And he almost made it count there as Doué takes the corner short to Hakimi. Back to Desiree Doué. Body's in the box. Doué chips past one. Spins it into the box. And it's headed away by Falcon as the shot comes down. And that's right at Astari. And there was a flag up anyway against a PSG player in Doué on the return ball from Hakimi, so he never got himself back on side after he took the corner. By the way, they did make that change into Miami for Noah Allen, who went down with a hamstring injury. He was substituted, and Tomas Aviles has come on and has placed the Argentinian, so a straight swap there at centre back for Inter Miami. Oh, there's another issue here. It's the Inter Miami goalkeeper, Astari, who's down. Oscar Astari. He was just caught a little bit late there when Bradley Barcola was trying to close him down. Yeah, a little bit over-exerted there was Bradley Barcola. I mean, he had the right to win the ball. He just timed it a little bit late. And Oscar Astari felt the full force of Bradley Barcola there. Andy says hosts get extra places normally in a cup like this, but yes, it's not strong enough as it is. Yeah, I think they reallocate it. I understand that Europe is probably the most competitive continent for football, of course, in the world, but 12 teams in a 32 team, competition is a little bit excessive. I think we need to see more Eastern representation, the more Asian, maybe more African kind of involvement. I think that will make it more entertaining, more intriguing as to what we can see. Because yes, we want this competition to be about the world, not just about European teams. And sometimes you just can't help that Europe is probably the strongest, but at least use the allocation to your advantage and maybe make it a little harder for European teams to have as much dominance as they can. As I said, it could be an all-European semi-final lineup. And it's not possible to have an European quarter-final lineup. It's possible, it could happen, that all but one position in the quarter-finals is of a non-European team, which, to me, is a bit disgraceful. Oh, as that shot from Kvaratskhelia from distance goes agonisingly wide for him. Good move on the left-hand side again. It's Doué. Doué cuts it back. Kvaratskhelia onto the right foot and just curving it just wide of that right post for Kvaratskhelia. Certainly had Astari diving. It was just away and wide. Well, we knew the quarterfinals wouldn't be all European because there was an all South American battle in the round of 16, so it was impossible for that to be the case. But if you look at the bracket for how it stands, theoretically, if all the European teams progress from the round of 16 ties, and of course there's an all-European battle in Real Madrid-Juventus as well in there, we could see Inter Man City, Palmeiras-Chelsea, PSG-Bayern, and Real Madrid or Juventus, and Borussia Dortmund. So 7 of the 8 teams in the quarterfinals could be European teams. As Inter Miami working up down that right-hand side, and Allende wins a throw-in for his team in that far right side. I just think, overall, what we want this competition to be is as competitive as possible. That's what UEFA should want, or FIFA should want. And yes, the UEFA teams, the European teams will be the strongest, but you have to give a bit of representation as much as possible to every continent available, as that's going to be a foul on Kvaratskhelia as he tried to chop inside there. 25 minutes gone, PSG 1 up here against Inter Miami. They've had 1 or 2 half chances since they've scored, but nothing of major great note to concern Oscar Ustari in that Miami goal. That Kvaratskhelia chance was probably the most threatening in the last few minutes of PSG's chances, but only 4 shots in the game for PSG, 2 of which are on target. Of course, Inter Miami without a shot at this moment in time, but not completely obliterating the Miami defence at the moment, PSG. Vitinha and Hakimi over this one again. This is where the goal came from, this sort of position. Vitinha doesn't whip it in this time, he plays it out. So Nuno Mendes, who had the effort, but straight into the Miami wall. And all the way back to Donnarumma as PSG retrieve possession again. They tried to go for something different from that set piece. Tried to go shorter, which was interesting because João Neves was again in the same position that he was when he scored. Free round the back post. The dominance of possession, as we expected from PSG, 76% possession so far to 24% of Inter Miami. So 3/4 of the ball with Paris Saint-Germain. Here's Lionel Messi. Bursting down that right-hand side comes Allende. This could be a chance for Inter Miami. Allende trying to get the bubble on the ball. Oh, it's just around and away from Luis Suarez, who was chasing it. And João Neves on the cover just about did enough to help his keeper get onto it. And that could have been more threatening. It was Messi that started the move. And it was Allende's delivery that deflected towards the path of Luis Suarez. But João Neves just about did enough to shield the veteran centre-forward from getting any sort of contact to the ball. Here's Marquinhos going for that switch ball out to the left for Kvaratskhelia. PSG into the box again. Kvaratskhelia skips past his man, tries to beat the keeper, but that's a good bit of work from Oscar Ustari to close down the angle and put it behind for the corner. Yeah, really smart from Ustari. He knows Kvaratskhelia is going to find a way through and try and get past him from that tight angle, and he does well to close the space and make himself as big as possible. There, Oscar Ustari, corner to PSG. 2-8 to take on the left-hand side. Right-footed delivery was a little bit overhit, and that one will sail out for a throw-in to Miami on the far side here. A bit wasteful that from Desiree Doué, who had an unbelievable Champions League final, of course, against Inter Milan. And that 5-0 thumping. PSG had a rapturous amount of fun that night. 5-0 winners, their first Champions League title under their belts. 2 goals and an assist for Desiree Doué in that game. Involved in all of the first 3 goals in that Champions League final for the youngster. Quite a remarkable individual performance from him. For the 20-year-old. Only turned 20 on June the 3rd. Born in 2005, Desiree Doué. And already on the pinnacle of Europe, winning that Champions League. And I'm sure his country will be hoping they can be in the fight to win the World Cup in America next summer. Of France, the second most recent World Cup champions, of course, beaten in that World Cup final by Argentina in 2022, and were the reigning champions going into that final of the 2018 final that they won. Hakimi chipping into the box, cleared away. Neves picks it up and he spins it out wide to Kvaratskhelia. Cuts it back inside. Nice little turn there from Nuno Mendes, who swings it out to the right side for Hakimi. Bodies in the box. They're trying to work the angle here, PSG, but maybe overworking and overpassing, and they give the ball away. Here's Jordi Alba. Chipping it forward, and shoved to the ground there was Segovia. That's going to be a free kick to Inter Miami to give them a little bit of respite defensively. The heat in Atlanta, I can tell you if I can get it up on my phone. It has been very hot in the USA over the last few days. 29 degrees Celsius in Atlanta. But it is a closed roof stadium. Oh, that's a chance! Fabian Ruiz with the effort over the bar from the edge of the box. Just couldn't keep the shot down. A nice idea. Miami just don't keep the possession. They give it away cheaply in their own defensive third. Spinned across the box. And to the edge comes Fabian Ruiz, who hits it first time, but he's always leaning back. It was always rising. Goal kick. Well, you talk about the heat, as I said there, Andy. So it's 29 degrees Celsius in Atlanta, Georgia, where the game's being held. But as I said, it's a closed roof stadium, so it will be air conditions. It will be a lot cooler inside this stadium than it will be in the air temperature outside of the stadium. So I don't think the heat will be as impactful inside the stadium as it was in other stadiums that are open air stadiums, like Lincoln Financial Field, for example, that is completely open air. But that's where I think PSG will not feel as kind of affected by the heat as they could do in other stadiums. Actually won't play, if PSG do progress, they won't play in an open air stadium until the semi-finals, because their quarter-final, if they do progress here, will be held inside this same stadium in a week's time, or less than a week's time, in Atlanta. And then all of both semi-finals and the live final are held at MetLife, which is in New York, New Jersey area, which is an open air stadium. In that one, some venue for the final, the MetLife Stadium. That's a lovely tick down by Hakimi, but he was well challenged in there by Jordi Alba. And Alba thumping away, trying to find Luis Suarez as the second ball's won in the midfield by Redondo. Now Messi works it back to Redondo. Now Falcon to the substitute there, Aviles. Some sort of possession has been a rarity for Miami in this first half, all the way back to Astari. Nice work there from Busquets. Aviles. Messi with a flick round the corner, trying to find Allende. Intercepted and nicely won back by PSG, who were patient there. They were quite patient. PSG didn't want to force the press. Knew that they had the coverage, they knew they were in the right positions, and they knew it was going to be hard for Inter Miami to find a way through them. And that ended up being the case, as Nuno Mendes was involved with William Pacho. That was the one that won the ball back and was in the end shoved over a little bit late. But that's another thing for PSG. Just be patient. Not try and overwork it. Not try and overplay the game. Just stick to the basics. Stick to what you're good at. Stick to kind of your own game. I'm not trying to overplay it. Just because you might be the better side on paper, don't get cocky about it. That's a lovely chip ball over the top. Here's a chance in behind. He rolls the keeper. Oh, it's off the line from Bradley Barcola, I believe. And it was an offside flag up anyway. Actually, it was Nuno Mendes that made that run behind. How does he get there? That's fabulous from Mendes. He's offside anyway. But how he holds up that position at centre forward for PSG is fabulous. And then the effort around the goalkeeper cleared off the line, but he was offside anyway. But that could be a target for PSG, trying those balls over the top. Hakimi. Barcola, who's come out to that right-hand side now, Bradley Barcola. Work back to Marquinhos. Pacho. To Nuno Mendes. Vitinha. Working up between the lines, PSG. Confident, comfortable, composed. Every word in the dictionary you would wish to use in this scenario. So they give it away momentarily. They won it back momentarily, and then the foul as Inter Miami tried to steal it away again. And free kick on João Neves. Here is Kvaratskhelia. 10 minutes to go with the first half. Kvaratskhelia beats past his man and tried to work the ball into the box. That time he will get a corner as the last touch came off a Inter Miami defender. Corner to PSG. Their 4th corner of the match so far. And the referee has to figure out 1 or 2 little issues around about the edge of the D. Whatever that was all about. As looks like Inter Miami are going to try and commit more men back now. Just have more men in cover in the box for this corner. Of course, Lionel Messi, the only Inter Miami player not in the box at this moment in time defending this corner. Kvaratskhelia has gone down, and whatever's happened there, holding his right boot. There's a few boos going around the stadium. What's that? We're not having any of this shite again, are we? What happened there? Just collided with... I mean, it was barely a touch on you. He's acting like he's been shot down. Relax, will you? Get up and play football. My God. No need for that shite. Falling to the floor on nothing. I mean, it's just ridiculous. Completely ridiculous what just happened there. I mean, Kvaratskhelia was barely touched and he goes flying to the floor like he's been shot down. Corner for Desiree Doué to deliver. Whips it in. The header. Oh! Falcon got something to that, but I think they're going to give a free kick to Inter Miami here. The referee. No problem, Anthony Smith. Thank you very much for joining. Ball over the top again in that run made by Doué this time, but the delivery just a little bit too high for him and allowed Astari to come and claim. Messi. Allende. And flick the ball in field as that was a catch on. I believe that was, the full back there, Wiggins, who was shoved to the ground by Kvaratskhelia. Well, that man, the head coach of Inter Miami, Javier Mascherano, 41-year-old Argentinian, of course. A man who many will know from his playing days across Europe. Here's his team. Have to do a bit of defending. Ruiz squares it across. And there's a second. It is João Neves again in the right place at the right time. And he doubles Paris Saint-Germain's lead. That was FIFA football from PSG. That was what we used to call a sweaty goal. Oh my goodness, João Neves sweated that one out. They won it in the final third. Nice work from Ruiz to win it. Lovely little flick round the corner from Barcola. And Ruiz knew that there was a square ball on. He knew it all day long. He squared it to his teammate, and João Neves just right-footed, sweeped it past Ustari, and doubling PSG's tally and his tally for this afternoon. If you had to put a bet on who was going to get 2 goals for PSG in this first half, I don't think João Neves would have been top of your list. But he is the one that has scored both goals for PSG. 2-0. All from the press, winning the ball high up in the final third and capitalising upon the space that was left by Inter Miami. Professional performance so far from PSG. They're not taking the piss, they're not acting too cocky. They're just playing their football and waiting for their chances to arise. And when they come, so far, they have taken them. Oh, that wasn't the strongest of back passes. Did just about find its way back to Donnarumma, but Suarez might have had a sneaking suspicion that could have been a chance for him there, but didn't quite turn out that way. Hakimi couldn't find it down the line. Nice block there down that side. As we see this moment again from the referee's camera, I mean, it's It's FIFA football. You get the ball wide, you square it across the box, and it's a tap-in finish. I mean, just wonderful. Simple as you like from PSG. Oh, that was awkward. The crossfield ball, but losing out was Lionel Messi on that occasion to Nuno Mendes, and it's going to be a foul here as Miami tried to keep a hold of the ball. He committed a foul in the process. It's the players, and the head coach, Javier Mascherano, is not happy with. Yeah, he came sliding in there. That's late. Whether he had the possession of the ball or not, you're not going to slide a late sliding challenge. I mean, there's really no arguments to that. It was a little bit late from Marcelo Weigand there, and it's definitely a foul. OJ Singh, thank you very much indeed. Don't worry if you're late. Thank you very much for joining us. Andy says I can see more goals from PSG now. 4-5-1 maybe at the end of the game. Yeah, 2-0 up. Pretty comfortable, sitting pretty. As we edge closer to the end of the first half there, and no real concerns for the European champions. Pacho. Ruiz. That's where the most action this side of the field is seen in this first half. This spell of possession from PSG with their defenders. Probably the closest Inter Miami have come anywhere near the PSG goal. And trying to press this, and simple as you like, PSG play out from that press. Down the left-hand side comes Mendes. He's absolutely unleashing pace. And as he did so, he was caught on the way through. And that's going to be another free kick, and it's going to be a yellow card as well, going the way of the man who committed that foul. Came crashing in. Yeah, there was no questions that he just came flooding through there. Marcelo Weigand. It was definitely a foul, and it's definitely a yellow card. It's probably his third challenge of that nature in the first half, and that gets him a booking. And another PSG free kick as we edge closer to half-time. João Neves, who's on a hat-trick in this one. João Neves. Who'd have thought that would be the case? Come 43 minutes. He would be the one that has scored both goals for Paris Saint-Germain. And I think that showcases how good of a team they actually are, PSG, and the fact that they don't need it to be their centre forwards or their wingers or the same players scoring all the time. It can be the way they play. It can be any one of their players. If you're in the right place at the right time, it can be anybody who finds the back of the net for PSG. And that type of team is pretty much unstoppable when anybody on the field can be your goal scorer, because the opponents, no matter how well they press, no matter how well they battle, as long as you win your 50-50s in that moment and anybody can score, you've got already a massive head start on your opponents anyway. PSG so far, I've had that all day. Doué with a cross, and there's a header, and there's a third, and at this time it's getting worse for Inter Miami. It's getting ever better for PSG, and it's 3-0. It's down this right hand side. It's Hakimi, plays the ball through. It's Doué that made the run. He squares it across, and it comes off Kvaratskhelia in the middle, or is it Fabian Ruiz actually, sorry, in the middle. Does it come off the defender last? It does, and it's going to be an own goal, I think. Yeah, it will do, and it's that substitute, Aviles, that is going to get that one. And that's going to be 3-0 PSG. Game, set and match before even half time. And it's going to be a own goal that makes it even worse for Inter Miami. PSG 3, Miami 0. And it's got even worse. And it's a Aviles own goal adds to PSG's tally. For a second there, I wasn't too sure whether it come off the defender or not. That's why I held my my tongue to decide to see it again and see who did score. 3 additional minutes at the end of the first half, which, as you probably would have expected, that early goal from João Neves, PSG just took control and have never let go. And Inter Miami have just been a sitting duck in just waiting as to what was probably going to be the inevitable. Long ball over the top again. They're out wanting more here, PSG. Certainly what Inter Miami don't want is this to become a real embarrassment of a scoreline and make it even bigger of a gap. We expect it will get bigger at some stage of the game, but Inter Miami don't want 5, 6, 7s in a way to be knocked out. They don't want that, especially being as the designated host team. That'll be one way to dampen the spirits. But of course, we knew it was going to be tough for them no matter what. PSG showed up tonight for Inter Miami to find anything out of this game. As I said, they don't want this to become a headline maker for all the wrong reasons, Inter Miami. I think it's just important for them now just to carry this to half-time and see what they can do to be a bit more solid in the second half. But really, when you're against a team in form like PSG are, you'd struggle to find anything to stop them. They couldn't be stopped from embarrassing a very good Inter Milan side in the biggest game of their season. I doubt it will be any different in a game of probably much less significance, definitely much less significance for PSG and their campaign. Certainly much less pressure. Vitinha swinging it around the corner. The run in behind here, but Barcola cuts it back. Oh, it's off the bar and it's followed up and in. And there's a fourth. It's Achraf Hakimi. It's turning into a cricket score for PSG. 4 goals, 3 of which in the last 7 minutes or so. They are tearing this Inter Miami side apart now. It's that run in behind. It's timed perfectly from Barcola. You think he's going to go himself, but in the end he's smart. He knows there's runners behind him. He cuts it back. Hakimi hits the shot first time, hits the crossbar with his effort, then it bounces back out and he has a second go at it. And on the second time round, Achraf Hakimi was not missing the target on that one. PSG 4, Inter Miami 0. And there now is a real concern that this could be somewhat of a real embarrassing moment for Inter Miami. And the halftime whistle's just gone as well, by the way. And I'm sure the Inter Miami players and the manager are pretty happy to see that halftime whistle. But they won't be happy to see that scoreline. We knew it was possible. We knew it could be done. We knew it was a very realistic possibility. But up until the final 8 minutes of that half, it looked like it was going to be a 1-0 scoreline for PSG to take into the break. But they turned it up, they turned it on, and they converted 3 very good chances into 3 goals. And that's what has them absolutely cruising at the moment at half-time. It's PSG 4, Inter Miami 0. We'll be back to analyse that first half and what can happen in the quarterfinals when we come back. Welcome back to the Club World Cup Live here on LFS this evening. Thank you very much for joining us. So far, it has been pretty much comfortable for Paris Saint-Germain. It is 4-0 at half-time to PSG. If we ever thought this was going to be a contest, well, they certainly proved us wrong in probably the final 10 minutes of that first half, because if you to be honest, PSG were just in the motions for a lot of it. They were, for the first 35 minutes of this game, they did score that goal early, which we thought really would be the catalyst for an absolute thumping for Inter Miami. I think at one point after João Neves opened that scoring inside 6 minutes, we thought, yeah, this could be really kind of detrimental to Inter Miami, but in the end, for the majority of that first half, it didn't turn out that way until the second goal. And when João Neves doubled the lead, added to that lead, made it 2-0, I don't know whether it clicked in PSG's mind that they were just going to simply see their way through this game and it was going to be easy from there on in, or if Inter Miami maybe lost confidence from that moment. But I think the second goal going in was more than just adding a second goal. It was symbolic in a way of PSG just taking their time and doing their job, and the third and fourth goals came quickly afterwards. The own goal from Aviles and then Ashraf Hakimi for the fourth goal. I think it kind of just summed up that the dominance that PSG were having just turned into goals and chances in the final 10 minutes of that half, and they just completely obliterated Miami in the final 10 minutes of that half and just completely took the game away from them. And we go into the second half, it's going to be a battle of how many for PSG, really, rather than if they're going to get through. It's going to be by how many. And as I said, at 3-0, I think it was, they don't want this to become embarrassing into Miami. They don't want this to become a headline maker for all the wrong reasons. They don't want to exit this competition. You know, they've got stars of very high quality and stars that have very high, not egos. Ego sounds like it's a bad way, but a lot of kind of pride in themselves. You know, a Lionel Messi, a Luis Suarez, a Sergio Busquets, a Jordi Alba amongst them. They will not want to be absolutely trounced here this evening. Now, there is very little they can do about it. Only one of them is an actual defender in the team. The other two of the four stars, shall we say, are in attacking positions. So there's very little they can do other than trying to score goals themselves in trying to stop this. But they certainly won't want to see that happen, and I'm sure all the Inter Miami players, no one wants to get absolutely destroyed, albeit they're the catalyst. They're playing the European champions at PSG, and of course on this form, any team would struggle to beat PSG today. I think PSG have been exceptional from minute one. They've barely not been on the ball in the first half. I mean, look, it's 73% possession. Almost three quarters of the possession in the first half. PSG, they had all the shots, all the chances, everything that was going their way. They had 6 big chances to the none of Inter Miami, 10 shots to the none of Inter Miami, 6 shots on target to the none of Inter Miami, 4 corners to the none of Inter Miami. They had more than double the passes that they created in that first half, almost 3 times the amount of passes that they created. I mean, everything in this game is in PSG's favour, and the scoreline reflects it. It's just been that simple. It's been PSG dominance, and the scoreline wasn't probably reflective of it at 1-0, but it certainly is very much reflective of that dominance at 4-0. And again, as I said, Inter Miami, what can you do? There's very little that you can do other than trying to be a bit more solid and try and stifle them a little bit more. But when they're on this form and they've just got so much better quality, sometimes it's just your passengers in a game that you're playing, and there's just very little you can do to stop it. But again, we'll see how it turns out in the second half. But it will be worrying for Javier Mascherano and his players, because they don't want to, I said it, they're the hosts, technically. They were designated as the hosts of this tournament after winning the 2024 MLS Supporters Shield. They were designated as the host team coming into this tournament. And they opened the tournament against Al Ahly in Group A, like a host would do, in like a host nation type of scenario. They are in Group A, they open the tournament, they're the host team, but they don't want to exit this competition in the first knockout round in a horrible way of being 4, 5, 6, 7-0. I think they probably will not want to see any more goals conceded, but who knows? They might, as I said, they're probably passengers in this game, and it's all up to PSG, really, whether it increases or not, the scoreline, and that's what we'll see in the second half. I don't expect PSG to drop off. I don't expect them to sit back. I don't expect them to do anything else, PSG, in the second half, other than what they did in the first. It's been pretty simple for them, pretty plain sailing. It's been comfortable. They just needed to convert it into goals, and that's what they did at the end of that first half, and I expect more of the same from PSG. It's just Inter Miami will be hoping they can't convert their chances in the second half, and hoping for a miracle that this doesn't end up 6-7 or even 8-0 come the final whistle. But we'll see how it turns out. So far, it is all good and well for PSG. They look like they're halfway to finding their way to the quarterfinals in this competition. Remember, the winners of this one will play the winners of the later game between Flamengo and Bayern in this one in the round of 16. And that game is coming up 9 o'clock UK time, the kickoff. But we will be back tomorrow after this one. We'll be back for coverage a little earlier than usual over the last few days. 8 p.m. kickoff as another European nation takes on another South American side. It's Inter Milan against Fluminense tomorrow, 8 o'clock in the round of 16. And they will play the winners of, if I can get it, the winners of Man City Al Hilal. So it could be an Inter Man City quarter-final. We'll see. Inter Milan against Fluminense is tomorrow at 8 o'clock. Right, the second half between PSG and Inter Miami, it's 4-0 to Paris Saint-Germain at the break. We'll see how much it ends up being come the end of 90 minutes. Back in a moment. Welcome back. Before the second half gets underway, let's just show you the bracket again. So we are currently on the top right corner of the brackets. As you see there, PSG and Inter Miami. In the top right corner, of course, the winner of this one will play Flamengo or Bayern in the quarterfinals. The other two matches in this side of the draw, Real Madrid, Juventus, and Borussia Dortmund, Monterrey. Both games take place Tuesday evening UK time. Or in the early hours of Wednesday morning, of course. So there is a scenario where we could have an all-European quarter-final and an all-European semi-final battle on this side of the draw come those stages of the competition. We could have a PSG Bayern and then a Real Madrid or Juventus and Borussia Dortmund quarter-final setup. That's probably the most likely scenario, but who knows what could come of the other games. So far, it's PSG that don't look too concerned and shouldn't look too concerned at this moment. If we look on the other side of the draw, it could be more of the same. It could be that 7 of the 8 teams in the quarterfinals could be European. Palmeiras will be the only non-European side if that was the case. It's possible it could happen, but again, as I said, nothing's a guarantee in this competition. Not every team is going to have as comfortable a lead at half-time as PSG have had in this one. And the two other round of 16 games that took place yesterday both went to extra time in them, and they were probably fairly matched, those two games. But this one, not very fairly matched so far, because PSG have that 4-goal advantage at the break. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on post notifications if you haven't done so already. We're right on the verge of 28,000 subscribers. If you can help us get over the line, that would be incredibly appreciated. And we thank you all for joining us for this one this evening. Changes are coming for PSG at the break. Marquinhos and Fabian Ruiz have been replaced by Lucas Beraldo and Warren Zaire-Emery. So a double change for Paris Saint-Germain at the interval. Let's see. Second half gets underway. It's Inter Miami that get us going. They're kicking from left to right. PSG from right to left in the second half. And something's telling me we're going to see something of the same that we saw in the first half in this one. The first 35 minutes or so was, yes, PSG were dominant. And the game, the scoreline was still fairly close. And as the final 10 minutes of the first half unfolded, it became much less close and much more evident of PSG's dominance, as they scored 3 goals in the matter of 7 or 8 minutes to end that first half. We'll see, as I said, what Inter Miami can do. Laser says, I feel sorry for the legends like Messi, Suarez, Busquets and Alba. And championship winners as well, says, guys feel sorry, they multi-millions in the bank. Inter Miami's yesterday's stars be 10-0 full time. It is that idea that really, yes, they have all these magic players, Lionel Messi, Luis Suarez, Sergio Busquets, Jordi Alba, the like. But when you have a team that are as good as PSG, and they know each other inside out, and they know how they play their game, and they're well versed on everything they need to be well versed in as a team, as a collective, no matter how many good individuals you have, you're going to struggle to get past them. And look, there's just no comparative. There's no comparing the two teams at this minute in time whatsoever. Remember, the winner of this one, I don't want to preemptively say PSG because that's a bit disrespectful, but the winner of this game will of course play here at Mercedes-Benz Stadium next weekend, next Saturday. Their game takes place. That's next Saturday at 12 Eastern. So that'll be 5 PM UK time. That game will take place, whoever wins this one, against the winners of Flamengo Bayern a little later. So, yeah, it's fair. A decent rest for these players. Oh, Jonathan, I didn't recognise. I was still trying to get a grip with that, but thank you very much for letting me know. I just see so many names and so many name changes. It's hard to keep up with it, but yes, thank you very much for letting me know. Who will PSG face? So they will face either Flamengo or Bayern in the quarterfinals, the winners of this one. To keep it simple, the winners of the 2 games in each day, US-wise, so the 2 games yesterday, the winners of those 2 play each other. The 2 today play each other. The 2 tomorrow play each other, and so on and so forth. It keeps it simple that way. One game after another. It's not convoluted and confusing. The winners of this one play the winners of the next game, which is really nice, really simple for us to figure out and keep the grips and understandings with. Alba tries to cross in there. Sorry, it was the right winger, or the right wing full back there for Inter Miami as they work the ball into the box. Here's a chance. Oh, how did he not take it? Luis Suarez, heavy first touch, and that let him down. Their best opportunity of the day, and the lifted ball into the box. Suarez made the running behind, and he took a heavy first touch. It just let him down. Just let him down. That was their first glimpse of goal, really, all afternoon for Inter Miami. And if you'd have put a bet on anyone in that position, Luis Suarez would have been your man, your poacher in the box. And his heavy first touch completely saw that chance dissipate. Here's Achraf Hakimi for PSG. Swings it into the box with the right foot, but no one in navy blue in there in PSG colours to claim it. Starry finds it forward to Lionel Messi, who skips past his man. Messi's on the move, but he was crowded out there, Lionel Messi, and João Neves comes away with the ball. But that didn't go very far, and Inter Miami can retrieve once again. Ustari to Busquets, and Starry thumps it forward again. That one not quite reaching into Miami forwards. Neves caught as he let the ball go. PSG playing it forward, rolling behind from Barcola to try and find Kvaratskhelia, but again Oscar Ustari was quick to that one. Nice touch and go there from Inter Miami. Here's Alba. Back heels it to Messi. He's playing left back at the minute, Lionel Messi. Busquets swinging it out to the right side. Finding the full-back there, Marcelo Vegant. Busquets. Falcon. Alba. Nice little give and goes. Messi round the corner. That's a lovely little move. And here he's in behind. Alba cuts it back. Messi deflected behind for the corner, I believe. Yeah, it will be. That was like the olden days for Barca. Javier Mascherano will remember those well. Jordi Alba and Lionel Messi link-ups, and Alba almost setting his teammate up for a good chance there, and he wins a corner, Messi, as the shot was deflected behind. So a little bit more fight, a little bit more quality into Miami in the second half here so far. We've no choice, really, but to. Segovia to take the corner short. Here's Lionel Messi, skips past his man, swung round the corner to Segovia. Is he onside? He is not onside. It looked like he was as he chased the ball. It was given as offside. Yeah, look at this from Messi. A little earlier, lofted over the top. Suarez wouldn't have wanted a better ball. There was no way he could get a better ball, and his touch to take it down just escaped him. Seeing Messi unleashed in this second half. A lot more of him so far in the first 7 minutes of the second half than we did in the whole of the first half. Lionel Messi. Goes without saying what a absolute goat of a footballer Lionel Messi is. The best to ever grace the field, as some would argue. As many would argue, rather. I think Cristiano Ronaldo would have something to say about that, but that's an argument for another day. Lionel Messi showing that he can still do it. No doubt about that. At 38, the Argentinian. All that he was waiting for really in his career was that World Cup that was missing up until 2022, and he won it so incredibly against France in that final in Qatar. What an unbelievable World Cup final that was, and Lionel Messi's kind of the gauntlet that he wanted of everything and anything was complete when he got the World Cup. The Copa Libertadores, or the Copa America, sorry, not Libertadores, that's the club competition. The Copa America, I think the year earlier, Argentina beat Brazil in the final as well in 2021, so it was really the complete set for Lionel Messi when that World Cup was won. And in many people's eyes, the argument of who's the best player in the world was really settled after Messi won the World Cup. So here come Inter Miami on the breakaway here. 5 players committed forward. Redondo rolling it out wide, trying to find the run of Segovia, but Lucas Beraldo came across and dealt with that situation very well. Back here with Vegant. All the way back to Astari for Inter Miami. Now to Jordi Alba. He was closed down well by Desiree Doué there. And Doué winning the throw-in on the right side. Played to João Neves. Vitinha. To Kvaratskhelia. Back to Mendes, and now Pacho. Vitinha. PSG just trying to build up their momentum once again. João Neves. Still on a hat-trick, by the way, João Neves. I will go out on a limb and say that if he does get it, it would be his first career hat-trick. I don't think I would be too argued against if that was the case. I don't think he ever has had a career hat-trick, João Neves. I'd be surprised if he did. Here's a chance. Desiree Doué in the edge of the box, trying to squeeze his way through a number of players, but that one was seen out. Now, pressure on that right-hand side. They couldn't keep it again into Miami, given away cheaply on that occasion from the PSG press as they work it back to Willian Pacho. Trying to get into their rhythm again, PSG. Andy says, Messi always does this. Stay very quiet first half, finds the space but doesn't use it. Then he does mix players from the opposite team, read the game wrong. That's why he's still relevant now. Messi is so much more than a goal scorer, and it's evident. And for me, you can't be the best player in the world if you're just a goal scorer. Of course, the game's all about scoring goals, obviously. But for me, to be the best player in the world, you have to combine incredible goal scoring with every little other aspect of the game. And I think Lionel Messi does that better than anyone else, in my opinion, because he is just a sensation. I mean, at 38, and look at Cristiano Ronaldo's doing unbelievable work at 40 as well in Saudi at Al Nassr, and he's just signed another 2-year contract, of course. And of course, they won the Nations League, did Portugal, the second time they've won that at the start of the month. That, you know, both are still very capable, but for me, Messi just has that all-round focus of every single aspect of the game that you want from an attacking player, and he can exploit anybody on the planet, and that's what makes him just unbelievable. But again, we've had this argument, we've talked about this, we've spoke about this, but you can't say it enough when it comes to the best player in the world. That's a lovely little turn there, and the shot from Barcola's over the bar. That was a lovely turn by Bradley Barcola around his defender. Spun him like a bottle top. Lovely first touch, and then struck it. And a good save by Ustari over the bar. Doué to take the corner then for PSG. On this left-hand side, right-footed, header on, but header over the bar. And that was Barcola again that was in the mix. Pass by Vitinha, but look at that touch from Barcola. Flicks it up, spins Aviles, and just a wonderful bit of skill. And a good save by Ustari in the end there from the eventual shot. Referee just making sure that PSG players are outside the 18-yard box from the goal kick, which is of course the rules. Javier Mascherano. His side, they've just been overpowered today. It's pretty simple. They've just been out-muscled, out-played on every area of the field. It's not really something to be embarrassed about when it comes to PSG. It's a mixed bag of a record, does Javier Mascherano, since taking over at Inter Miami. It's his 28th game in charge tonight. He's won 14 of his previous 27. 7 draws, 6 defeats from those games. The 41-year-old, still very young in his coaching career, of course. Was the interim head coach at Argentina for a while, and was the under-23s and under-20s head coach at Argentina over the last number of years. Here's a chance for Inter Miami on the break here. This could be a chance here. Suarez squares it back across on the spin. Lionel Messi couldn't get the shot off, and was surrounded by players in the end. That was a chance. That was an opportunity. Remember, this Inter Miami side unbeaten coming into this game this evening, a win and 2 draws from their 3 group games. They only finished second in the group. The goal difference, they were 2-0 up against Palmeiras in the final day, final group game. Oh, that's a lovely breakaway down the right here. They're getting into spaces here in Miami. As Mendes has to do a bit of defending. That's good from Allende, squaring it into the middle. Messi linking up with Suarez. Back to Lionel Messi, trying to exploit the lines, trying to find something. Here is Messi, a little bit short with a cross. Cleared away. Barcola lifting over his man, and that is going to be a free kick as he was shoved out of the way there. And that's going to be a change coming here for PSG. So it's not going to be a first career hat-trick chance for João Neves. He's going to be replaced by Ousmane Dembele. So Dembele on and Neves off. And what an impact João Neves has had. Great diving header for the first goal. And as simple as you like, tap in for the second. He'll not care. There are 2 goals for him. That massively helped PSG into carrying into this lead. And Ousmane Dembele, one of the top forwards in the world at the moment. And his performance in the previous campaign for PSG, an unbelievable record of goal scoring in 2025. And he's on to make an impact and maybe add 1 or 2 to his tally. And maybe just ensure that this PSG attack doesn't fizzle out. As Dembele was dispossessed there in his first control by Luis Suarez. Here's Segovia. Segovia trying to find Suarez. He's still going himself. He's beat past a couple. Segovia down this left side. Cuts it back to Alba. Busquets. Has to go all the way back. Here to Aviles. And now Falcon. Swing ball over the top here. Allende brings it down. Vegant now into the final third. Come into Miami. Charging through is Messi. The shot is low and hard and right at Gianluigi Donnarumma. Again, that late run from Messi. Open up the space, open up the chance. And a decent effort at Donnarumma. They have been better into Miami in this second half. Have had more of an attacking output. And just haven't folded. They haven't fallen away. They've come back out fighting in the second half. And come back out trying to show a bit of promise and a bit of positivity to their play. And maybe try and get a consolation goal against this very, very good PSG side. Yeah, he tried it there, Messi, and he got past Beraldo, but he just couldn't convert from that narrow angle. Just hit the shot low, and Donnarumma had it covered. Here's Kvaratskhelia for PSG, chops onto his right foot, trying to curl one. Just couldn't get enough curl on it there, Kvaratskhelia, but it wasn't miles away. It was off target from the Georgian. Chopped inside. Busquets trying to block him off, and he just got the shot, trying to curl it to the far corner. Just couldn't keep it in the confines of the goal there. And it goes out for a goal kick. Lovely little combinations again. Suarez. They're working the ball better here, Inter Miami. And now here's a through chance and a shot. That was well off target, that from that right side from Allende. From a good distance out. It was Inter Miami fans are having more fun in the second half than they did in the first. Yeah, Allende's effort was never going anywhere near the target, but wanted to hit one. And he says, love to see Messi get one for his fans. Yeah, part of me was thinking, I just love to see Messi, to commentate on a Messi goal. That would just be fantastic. I would love that, but yeah, it'd be good to see Messi get something. We know they're going to be buying out of the competition, but we want Messi or even Suarez or someone of that ilk to get a goal for Inter Miami here. Give them a consolation to take something out of. So that they scored against the European champions. Albeit that wouldn't have been the desired result coming into the game, but here's a chance over the top. Oh, Hakimi made the run in behind there and couldn't direct it past the Starry that time. You can see this again, flicked over the top. It's Alba. Loses the mark of Achraf Hakimi in behind, and he tried to chip it past the keeper, but couldn't get enough lift on it there, Achraf Hakimi, and it's given away. And now here's Messi leading the charge on the counter. He's played the through ball. It's a little bit short. Nuno Mendes shoved out of the way by Allende. Allende trying to find Messi, but he undercooks the crossfield ball, and that's intercepted by PSG. They're starting to carve open more chances here into Miami, and I think Messi's teammates are as well trying to find one for him if they can. Allende certainly was on that occasion. He didn't want to take the shot on. He wanted to try and find Lionel Messi to try and have a shot himself. On that occasion he just couldn't quite find the Argentinian. Free kick here for Inter Miami. Just inside their own half. Played it short. Messi again, rolling it out to that far right side. Here's Vegant into the box, just overstretching. Just an inch or so ahead of Messi again as he tried to square it into the box. And now PSG might want to try and capitalise upon this move. Here's Kvaratskhelia off the left-hand side, who was offside, I believe. Yeah. Looked like he was offside there, Kvaratskhelia. Free kick. And where's Achraf Hakimi has had the most attempts of any player on the field for PSG. 4. Certainly a very attack-minded fullback is Achraf Hakimi. He's already on the score sheet, remember. He scored the 4th goal after hitting the crossbar, remember, as well, in the lead up to that 4th. Quite ironically, none of the forwards of PSG have scored. 2 goals from midfield, an own goal and a defender scoring the 4 goals so far. Dembele. Rolls it in behind. Nice little combination centrally here for PSG. It's fallen for Barcola, whose effort was deflected over the top corner. Yeah, the ball just fell for him. Miss kick from Jair Emery, and it's fallen for Barcola. He had the effort, and it came lifting off the right boot there of the Inter Miami defender. It looks like they're going to make another double change here, PSG. They made a double change at half-time. They brought on Dembele around about 5 minutes ago, and now they're going to make a double change. See Nuno Mendes and Achraf Hakimi replaced, so the 2 fullbacks replaced. And we're going to see the introduction of Lee Kang-in and Hernandez as well. Luca Hernandez. And Achraf Hakimi being replaced. We see that goal he scored again. He hit the crossbar of the first effort, rebounded out, and he made no mistake of the second one to make it 4-0 towards the end of the first half. And those changes being made, and probably the best fullbacks in world football, Achraf Hakimi and Nuno Mendes at this stage. Corner taken short here by PSG, working into the box, and the shot has gone well wide from Desiree Doué, but it was worth an effort. He charged into the box from that set piece. See it again. Skipped past his man, and Allende like he wasn't there, and he tried to just completely strike it to the far corner. He just didn't catch it well enough, and was always sailing wide. It's over 20 minutes to go. PSG 4 into Miami 0 here in Atlanta. on home turf for Inter Miami. PSG are looking the more at home of the two teams at this moment in time. They are chillaxed at this moment in time. I hate that word. I haven't said that word in such a long time. Chillaxed. Horrible. But they are relaxed at this moment in time, PSG. They're trying to add to that to the scoreline. They certainly have had attempts. But certainly, Inter Miami have looked more of a threat in the second half and tried to get one of their own to add to the score sheet. And there's no doubting they have certainly tried their very hardest to get Lionel Messi goal scoring chances in this second half to score in this competition for the GOAT. They have been, as I said, they've been much better in the second half into Miami in all areas. As I said, PSG done the damage in the first half. They knew that it was going to be tough. They knew it was going to be a real slog. But credit to them for not cowering in fear and not sitting even deeper and not stepping off PSG to deny them. They've stood up to the challenge. They've kind of not wilted. And credit to them. Inter Miami. There's no further damage has been done in the second half so far. Kvaratskhelia. The team like PSG, you need to be switched on for a full 95 minutes of this game to make sure that you don't and aren't punished. You can't have a drop in concentration at any stage, as you will be punished, as we saw in that first half. Oscar Starry went down there as he caught the ball. Yeah, Bradley Barcola tried to get a tip to it and got the ball and then just collided with Falcon there, the Miami goalkeeper. Goes long with a kick out wide to the right, left-hand side. Suarez. Alba trying to flick it round the corner, but Segovia couldn't keep it. Kvaratskhelia now for PSG. Tries the ball in behind. Finds Doué, who breaks off Falcon. Doué lays it off now. Kang in. Barcola. Zaire Emery in the middle couldn't get anything to it. They're trying their hardest here, PSG, to add a fifth, but on that occasion, maybe just overpassed it. No one wanted to have a shot there. As there's an issue here. Luis Suarez, as is his tradition, has something to argue with the referee. There's the Luis Suarez we know. And Willian Pacho was the one that went down. He just come right through the back of him there, really. Luis Suarez. And he's got a yellow card for his troubles there. Not for the foul, for everything that led after the foul. And that yellow card would have meant that he would be suspended for the next game, for the quarterfinals, but I don't think that will matter. Well, we haven't talked about it, but of course, we mentioned it in the opener. This game was set up as Lionel Messi against his former team in PSG. Spent a number of years at Paris. 2 full seasons. Oh, there's a chance! Oh, Allende with a header straight at Donnarumma. See this again. Great delivery in, and Allende gets so much higher than Lucas Hernandez. He does well, but the header straight at the keeper. Well, as I said, Messi joined PSG on a free in August 2021. Spent 2 seasons in Paris before joining Inter Miami in July of 2023. It will be 2 years this summer that he's been at Inter Miami. He's had a wonderful time really here so far, you would say. 53 goals for Inter Miami over the last 3 seasons. And 26 assists. Just incredible. And he can still produce at that level. Actually only scored in the 2 seasons he spent at PSG. Scored 32 goals. 21 in his second season, 11 in his first. But combined for over 34 assists in his full time at PSG. And many kind of said it was kind of his downfall. It was that he fell off when he went to PSG. But Messi was on another level when he was at Barcelona. There was always going to be that drop off when he did fall away and left that team, and it was a massive drop off. His last season at Barcelona, played 47 games, scored 38 goals and 12 assists. Quite unbelievable what he achieved. 31 goals, 51 goals back to 18-19. I mean, he's on the top of the world when he scored all those goals with Barca. But it was a drop off to go to PSG in those 2 seasons, but still produced quite great numbers, even for his level. Ball down the left hand side, couldn't quite find it towards Kvaratskhelia. Andy says Miami would have beaten and given anyone a game apart from the big 5 favourites. Yeah, I do believe if they'd have won the group into Miami, they would have been playing Botafogo, and I think they would have probably beaten Botafogo and got to the quarterfinals. Unfortunately, that's the way the cookie crumbles sometimes. That's the disappointment. That's the benefit to finishing top of the group. You could have a somewhat easier draw. And they did make a change, by the way, Inter Miami a moment or 2 ago. They replaced Telasco Segovia, replaced by Benjamin Cremaschi. So Cremaschi is on to the field on that left-hand side. Here he is, Alba. Messi rolls it through. Here's a chance into the box. Oh, another good chance, and another little bit of a heavy touch from Luis Suarez, but they've won the corner, I believe, out of that situation. Another beautiful ball by Messi, first time. Just incredible. Just incredible. First touch, how the way he just absolutely sweeps it. Just guides it beautifully. Corner here for Inter Miami, left-hand side. Left-footed fizzed out to the edge of the box. It's Messi that takes it down. He gives it out wide. Messi's dropped a little deeper. Ball fizzed towards the box, flicked on. Bouncing around, it's Falcon that's in the vicinity. It's fed wide out here to Suarez, who swings it in, and Messi was running towards it. But the header is over the bar by Cremaschi, and that's going to be a goal kick. And Gunga says, will Messi be around for the World Cup next year? Is it a stretch too far? I don't think it is a stretch too far. I think it'd be grand. I think if Ronaldo can get to the World Cup, which he's clearly stated that he wants to do, I think Lionel Messi can. And I think it will be, the 2026 World Cup will be the last one where we see the 2 of them. Whether either 2 can continue to maybe the next one, which I don't think is possible, in 2030. But it's Lionel Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo. Who bloody knows with those 2? But yeah, I think they'll both be at the World Cup next year. I think with the fact that Messi's playing in America, it's hosted in America, they are the current champions of the world, Argentina, I think everything in the favour is going that Messi will be the star of the next World Cup. He will be the kind of the face. And here is Lionel Messi. Charging forward, rolls it out wide here. Cremaschi tries to cut it back. Messi's got a bit of space in the box if he can find him. Can't. Cuts it back. Now Messi to Cremaschi again. Alba trying to chip it back across. Messi's header. Good save by Donnarumma. And that's headed a clear by PSG. That's the closest they've come, and it's Lionel Messi who once again has his header saved by Donnarumma. Here's Kvaratskhelia, just over 10 minutes to go. Still 4-0 to PSG. And that's the scoreline it was at half-time. I hope so, Andy. I hope so. That would be just perfect. I almost got my chance there. Messi with a header, and yeah, good save by Donnarumma. Something in me is telling me it's coming, because they're creating a lot of good chances here, Miami. They've been so much better in the second half. And yes, of course, it's maybe that PSG have just stepped off the mark a little bit. They're 4-0 up. They don't really need to do much, but Miami have shown a lot of confidence and a lot of courage, especially in the second half, because if they had stepped up, made the wrong mistakes, opened too much space, they could be on the end of the biggest embarrassment of a 7 or an 8. But they stepped up, they showed courage, they showed confidence, they showed their ability in the second half, and PSG, I've just said, is it really worth it to go gung-ho at this? And maybe the Miami have just settled and balanced the game again. Certainly in this second half they've balanced it. Yeah, 100%, Andy. When they retire eventually, of course they will have to at some point. I'm sure they don't want to, but obviously that's the sad nature of football. Everybody has their end day, their final day in the sport, and the day will come when Lionel Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo will have their final days in the sport. Hopefully that won't be for another number of years yet. It will be a sad day whenever it does happen. Gotta say, I've only been witness to maybe the final decade of their careers, and I've been witness to maybe not the best years of Messi or the best years of Ronaldo, really. I remember in that 2018 Champions League final, Real Madrid, it was just, as a Liverpool fan, it was a terrible moment, but the class of Real Madrid that day and Ronaldo, and then beating Barcelona and Messi in that final, the semi-final the year after, and the way that Liverpool did. I mean, I saw what they did to my team and how good they were against my team, and how good they were, and just goes without saying how incredible those two are. Suarez rolls it through. Oh, it's coming. William Pachu just gets in the way. Messi was chasing it down there. You've got the throw in, Miami, down the right side. Vigant linking up there in the middle. Ball comes out wide to Krameshi here. Alba. Kramashi. They're trying that consolation with everything they've got now into Miami. They want their fans to celebrate something here in Atlanta before they bow out of the competition. And they're desperate to try and find that goal. It would be just the perfect moment if it was Lionel Messi that got it, but PSG not having much of the ball in the last few minutes here. Miami, the ball sticking to them. Alba, he tried the ball into the centre, closed down by Vitinha. And Zaire Emery under pressure. He loses out to Kramashi. Kramashi will win the corner. He did. Referee's not making too many good signals. He just kind of puts his arms out like a T-Rex. Corner taken short. Played into the box here. They can find an angle. Messi was a lot deeper than he wanted to be there, and had needed a better rescue job back there for Inter Miami as Barcola tries to close the angle down, and Usari gets rid of it quickly. Ustari, sorry. And then the offside flag comes up against Allende down this right-hand side. Free kick to PSG. There was a collision there between Falcon and Luca Hernandez, but no love lost. Nothing too extreme out of those situations. And he says PSG are one of those teams now, and they did it by selling all their best players, and normally selling your best players makes you weaker. Yeah, well, it was all about stardom, really, for PSG that was holding them back. You know, they tried the Neymar, the Messi, the Mbappe route of having one of the best players in the world and having the individuals getting them over the line. You know, it was the Kylian Mbappe show for a good number of years at PSG. And really, when you have that, when it's just one player doing all the work, you don't win things. You don't win things, especially not what you want to win, and what the hardest is to win is a European trophy. You need a team, and PSG have had that this season. I think credit to Luis Enrique, credit to all the players that he's made better. You know, he's come in and coached them and made a lot of players better and brought in some really good talent. That midfield is unbelievable how good it is with Ruiz and Vitinha and Neves. And then they've got great attackers, very good young wide players that have pace and quality. They have a very good striker in Ousmane Dembele that can score them a number of goals and has scored numbers of goals. And then they've got that experience and youth at the back line and the two best fullbacks. I mean, they have the top quality in every single position, PSG, at the minute. And that's what makes the best team. And it's not always about having one or two of the best players in the world at the same time. That doesn't always guarantee you success. You have to have a team to build around it and use that team spirit to get you over the line in tight games and tough games. And when you're always relying upon the same individual, you're never going to succeed. And PSG, that's why they always fell at the final hurdle. They just didn't have the team spirit to kind of get over the line in Europe. As there's going to be a free kick here. Suarez has gone down. It's Beraldo that's fouled him. It's a free kick in and around the edge of the box. Is this the chance then for Inter Miami? It was Suarez. He took the touch around Beraldo. Beraldo a little bit late. And Suarez took no second guessing in going down. Lionel Messi. He's got the hold of the ball. Is this Miami's moment to have their consolation? Lionel Messi. He's had a couple of half chances so far. The tight angle, the header, denied by Donnarumma. Can he use his quality from the dead ball to find the advantage, to find the difference, to have his moment in the Club World Cup? You certainly wouldn't bet against Lionel Messi in taking this moment for him and his chance to score for Inter Miami in the Club World Cup again. The cameras are out. Thousands inside Atlanta, millions around the world watching this moment. Lionel Messi over this free kick, edge of the D. Can he rescue a consolation for Inter Miami? Messi hits the wall. And now PSG want to hit the counter. Can they find it? Ball flicked over the top. This could be a chance. Oh, just off the foot of Barcola, but he's going to get it. Bradley Barcola. Pink shirts flooding back into the defensive box. And Barcola, well dispossessed there. All that build-up for that. Really, unfortunately. As here comes Suarez, wide on the left-hand side. 90 seconds of the 90 minutes to go. PSG 4, Inter Miami 0. Chip ball over the top, too far. That one. And it's headed back by Pacho to the goalkeeper in Gigi Donnarumma. So, we know PSG are going through. I think it's fairly safe to say that now. Probably fairly safe to say it at half-time. But who will they play? We will find out a little later. Flamengo against Bayern is a 9 o'clock kickoff. Remember, we'll be back tomorrow. A little later than tonight. We'll be back in around about 24 hours time, just a bit longer than that. Kick-off 8 o'clock tomorrow, Inter Milan against Fluminense. That's tomorrow at 8 here on LFS. Hope you can join us for that one. And then our final round of 16 ties on Tuesday night as we watch Real Madrid take on Juventus in an all-European battle. That's Tuesday at 8 o'clock UK time. For now, it looks like it's going to be plain sailing for PSG. They might want to add another here. Here's Kvaratskhelia. Last minute of the 90. Vika Kvaratskhelia cuts it back. Vitinha spins it out to the right side. Here's Ousmane Dembele. Shot well blocked on that left-hand side by Sergio Busquets. And puts it behind for the corner. I'll just take the liberty of putting PSG's name into my sheet here for the quarterfinals. They'll be back here in Atlanta in 6 days' time. 2 additional minutes. Corner chicken short. Head to the box, the shot blocked. Brought down by Dembele, who couldn't keep the shot, the touch, and the ball in the field. Goal kick. So 2 additional minutes of the 90. As I said, PSG will be back here in the Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta in 6 days' time when they face either Flamengo or Bayern Munich in the quarterfinals. Last minute or so of this game for Inter Miami. Can they steal a consolation? Ustari kicks it forward. The header was brought down, stretching there to try and keep it in play was Kramashi, but PSG just retrieve it and control the ball. And will likely just see this one out to the finish now if they can. Zaire Emery. Doué. Vitinha. Andy says, I think Flamenco might make an upset. There's always one in this round of the Cup. There always is an upset. There always is. We'll assess the bracket. We'll assess what's still to come before we see you tomorrow evening. Well, PSG have probably known since half-time they're going through, but Inter Miami have held more of their own in the second half and did a lot better in the attacking third of the field. Messi had a few half chances, but not enough to try and find that goal in the end for him. With the end of the road for Inter Miami, the hosts club of this tournament. But it will be the European champions that will be marching on to the next round. They're into the quarterfinals as the final whistle goes. It was pretty comfortable in the end for PSG. The first half was those 7 minutes at the end of the first half that really decided this game. João Neves on the brace, an own goal from Aviles, and then the fourth from Achraf Hakimi right on the verge of half-time. Made it 4 at the break. The job was surely done at half-time, they know that now. It was a question of whether it would be more for PSG come the final whistle, but credit to Inter Miami, the courage that they showed in the second half to show more of their attacking displays. That man there, Lionel Messi, had a couple of half chances, caused Gigi Donnarumma some sort of threat on a couple of occasions, but not enough on the day for Inter Miami to have any sort of threat to PSG. The European champions, as I said, marching on. They'll be back in Atlanta in 6 days' time as they could be facing either Flamenco or Bayern Munich. We'll find out when those two clash in over an hour's time, or over 2 hours' time, sorry. That's a 9 PM kickoff UK time. And we'll be back to let you know about that result and talk about that result tomorrow night when we are in action again. Final score from the round of 16 in Atlanta. It is finished. Paris Saint-Germain 4, Inter Miami 0. And thank you very much for joining us this evening. It's been great to have your company very much for this one this evening. Too much for Messi, Busquets, Alba and Suarez. They couldn't get the job done, but the quality of the European champions was unmatched today. They didn't need any of their forwards to score. Two goals from a midfielder, one from a defender, and an own goal. The forwards probably could have taken the day off, and PSG still would have been comfortable in this one. Let's show you what has happened already then. Palmeiras 1-0 winners after extra time against Botafogo yesterday, booked their place into the quarters. They will face Chelsea, who made it extra time as well against Benfica after that added time penalty from Angel Di Maria. Took it to extra time after that long delay last night in that one, but it was 3 goals after there was a second yellow card for Prestiani for Benfica, meant they were down to 10, so Chelsea added another 3 to their tally to make it a comfortable finish in the end for the Blues. They march on to the quarters. They face Palmeiras in the quarterfinals next Friday, and then tonight from our the first game of the day. PSG making, in the end, easy work of Inter Miami. 4-0 victors on the nights. And they will face, as I said, the winners of Flamenco or Bayern in the next round. This is the way the bracket is looking. And we'll refresh that because we can tell you there's an update to that bracket, of course. They haven't quite updated it too much, but they now have that score 4-0. It has finished between PSG and Inter Miami, so they are into that box in the quarterfinals in the top right of the corner of the screen. The other matchup, as I said, Flamengo against Bayern, is at 9 o'clock kickoff this evening UK time. And of course, already a quarterfinal solidified, Palmeiras against Chelsea. Could be, as I said earlier, 7 of the 8 quarterfinalists could all be from Europe if results go the way of the European sides in their respective round of 16 ties. There we go. That's the way the bracket looks heading into the quarterfinals. We still have 2 games to come here on LFS in the round of 16 over the coming days, and tomorrow's coverage is of the only game in the UK that's on tomorrow. Inter Milan taking on Fluminense. That's tomorrow at 8 o'clock on LFS. The game that they will face their opponents, Man City Al Hilal, is in the early hours of Tuesday morning. That's why that's a little bit more convoluted. But they will be in action tomorrow. Inter against Fluminense. And that will be taking place in Charlotte, North Carolina. One of my favourite stadiums to watch games in this campaign so far. Thank you very much, everybody, for joining us. It's great to have you with us. PSG are on the move. They're into the quarterfinals, the European champions. Inter Miami are heading home with the likes of Messi, Suarez, Busquets and Alba. They couldn't get the job done today. They came close to trying to get a goal, but it was too much class from PSG on the day that outdone them. Thanks very much for your company, and we'll see you again tomorrow. Bye-bye.